Hi everybody, welcome back to Space Engineers. And this is, I haven't renamed the file yet, but this is my GK6, my sixth Geekomancer large grip ship in progress. I might have mentioned what the final eventual name would be in the first episode, but I don't remember now if I ruined the spoiler or not. If I did, then you probably remember. And if not, then you'll just have to watch till the end. This is eventually going to change, I think. It just looks weird to have sort of things grouped so tightly together like that. And I was realizing that there is a lot of footage for this build. It was quicker than my previous one, but still, OMG. The time goes by a little faster when you're doing it than when you're watching it, I think. It still goes by pretty fast. It's pretty interesting to watch, to me. Even looking at my own build, which is less interesting than watching someone else's. This is just me trying to learn a few things that some people out there doing this are way better at than I am. But I'm trying to get the basics down and just be able to make a reasonably cool looking ship. Here I'm considering putting in either a reactor or something like a survival kit, some kind of furniture type block. Looking at places to either move the batteries or push out to be able to create a back exit, which I'm pretty sure I eventually do. For those of you who have not watched since the beginning, this is voiceover because I somehow didn't record my voice while I was recording this video of the playthrough. So, so I'm putting these ion thrusters out on the wings, or the whatever you call those things, just to make them look a little more spread out. So anyway, I recorded with no voice audio an entire series before I realized my mistake, and so now I'm rewatching them and recording voice after the fact, trying to explain what I'm doing and what I was thinking, and just a little bit about the creative process. Here basically I'm just spreading out these thrusters away from the center so that they look cooler, and making room for a pedestrian entrance in the back of the ship. And then at the same time, just thinking about considerations of design, like how to make it look cool. And then I'm also just trying to improve each ship by, hopefully making considerations, that I missed a previous time. Like, instead of having to rebuild, maybe this time I think about it in advance. There are a lot of things to think about, so just kind of just sharing the learning process here. And, all this is just trying out different ideas, different looks, different vibes, to see if anything, just kind of makes sense, either artistry-wise or you know, like some kind by the vision of some kind of design idea. Trying to create some kind of protection and visual covering around the thrusters here. I think it takes a while to get to the final shape on this. Tried quite a few different things. And you're just going again for that interior wall, that sort of classic interior wall look. I'm gonna cough, excuse me. I remember at the time I was sort of trying to make that a little bit of a theme, having those little interior block or interior wall blocks kind of as decoration in a couple of spots on the ship. Just as a little touch, a little extra touch. I thought it was cute. You're trying to make some of these lines look less smooth. You know, it's easy to get into the habit of sort of trying to smooth everything out, at least it is for me. And so on this ship in particular, I was really trying to make it, you know, almost kind of jagged looking. So clearly my goal here is to have all three thruster types and I think in the end I pulled it off, but I don't remember for sure. This is the first time that I'm, you know, watching this video, and it's been a while since I did this. I think it's been about a month. Definitely looks cooler than it did before. So just sort of gradually making it cooler and more functional with each step, hopefully. I'm looking at, so just trying to make these things around the thruster, these sort of armor sides that go around each thruster, trying to make them look symmetrical, same on each side, and then also kind of incorporating that jagged, sharp look over a smooth look. That's pretty much what I was thinking about while making this. Not loving how far they stretch out. Seeing if I can push it one farther back. Turns out I can. And then push it even farther back than that. So they tuck in a little more flush with the big thruster. And you can have it stick out one more for a little extra protection and just make it look cool. noticing there's a little walkway for repairs, which is nice. You can totally see right through those batteries, and yet, between the battery and the jump drive, and yet it is pressurized on the inside, or it will be. Not sure what's happening here. Maybe I went AFK. Nope, here I am. I kept forgetting to turn on and off symmetry mode on this build, and it kind of drove me nuts. Looking at just making all these thrusters a little more hefty, a little more chunky, and trying to find a nice pattern that works all the way around. I don't think this ends up being the final version, but I don't remember. Yeah, trying to make them all, all four, or at least all the three outside ones the same. That was my goal. And then I'm pretty sure it chunks out a little wider on the sides there to cover up that thruster. Oops. Yeah, here we go. Just wanting to go out a little more. Strengths, so many different things. It's pretty nice. I think we're getting close to the finished version of how this back thruster part looks. Just trying to make a lot of uneven, sort of jagged lines, make it look sharp. Gotta love a good heat vent. They really are the coolest non-functional block in the game, I think. I mean, what can be cooler than something that does nothing but glow? It's so cool. Yeah, I'm kind of liking having these spiky. I should probably just say the name because then you'll get used to it. It's Mantis. Oh, I should probably say spoiler alert. Go ahead and close your ears. It's Mantis. Because I was just trying to kind of keep with an insect theme of all these ships. The first one was called Dragonfly. And then a later one, or I think it's later. There's one that I ended up calling Scarab. Oh yeah, that was the first series, so that was GK4, I think. And probably, I'm thinking that I'll pick up where I left off on some of the ones that I haven't finished. And then call it a day. Retire from Space Engineers. I must be AFK right now. I'm not sure what happened since I don't have the audio. Oh, there we are. Seems like every time I say I must be AFK, I start moving again. So that's helpful. Those interior blocks add some cool texture. Kind of just space up above there for adding event controllers and timers and things like that. So it's Labor Day weekend. And I had a bunch of work scheduled for the weekend, but it all got canceled. So I have the weekend off. I'm probably gonna record this commentary for this video. Some or all of the rest. There's quite a bit to go still. It's pretty long. I'll probably break this up into multiple episodes. Try to keep them all under an hour. Just experimenting here with different ways to create texture. Visually, I mean. I end up going a little bit wider to cover up that side of that heat vent. Yeah, we're getting close to the final design on this ship, and I think a lot of this episode is just kind of tinkering and fine-tuning. I think we end up needing to have more flat mows. And even then, I'm not sure if it was enough. Turns out you need quite a few flat mows to lift a heavy ship. So yeah, it seems like to make something functional, you either need strong atmospheric thrusters for all directions, including and then the hydrogen, or you need hydrogen with just a lot of storage. A lot of hydrogen storage. Because it's kind of annoying when if you're out, like, exploring or mining or, looking for raw materials, and just always having to worry about running out of gas and looking for places to get ice. Okay, so yeah, somewhere in here, I think I kind of spaced out and then was doing some other things. But I was talking about ice, and then I'm going to try to just, watch this and try to remember what I was saying. And I promise you the next video will have all the audio working. I'm kind of liking this little hangar bay idea with the pedestrian walkway. I'm thinking about putting some kind of railings or catwalks. Not sure what's going on here. Oh, right, pistons. A pretty simple little idea, but I had trouble with the event controller on a separate grid, on a subgrid. So I couldn't really get the whole thing to work quite as cool as I hoped. But it could be a nice way to, just connect into a station or whatever. Playing around with shapes to work to make it sort of fit in with the platform. Definitely needs to have something solid around it. I was trying to make sure that it didn't, clang out or get stuck. I don't remember what I ended up going with. It might have been this. So I'm just testing it. Make sure it doesn't clang. Nice, simple use of piston. Then you can do all sorts of things to make it, connect to something with using sensors or event controllers. I think I'm trying to push it back one more. Yeah. Just make it blend in as much as possible. And then still hoping that it doesn't clang. But I'm not totally sure what the correct formula is. Looks a little weird. Looks a little bit flimsy. Trying to figure out something that looks like it is meant to be there. It's not bad. I still don't remember if this is what I ended up with. Not sure what's going on here. Just trying to take a look at it from the inside, I guess. Testing, make sure it comes out. You could obviously put together some kind of button panels or whatever for that as well. But I'm going to do just a little simple catwalk and a sensor trick. The idea there is to have, a whole catwalk and then just the piston part with the connector on it carries you out to the station. Need a inset connector to stick stuff to it, like sensors and catwalks. And the idea is if I put that on here while the piston is out and then move it together, it'll still be part of that separate subgrid. So I think I'm going to just reverse it here. Testing for clang. Nice. Looks good. And I think I'm going to just do railings. I ended up with something a little bit different that includes another thing that's not on here yet. A little fire escape. But for now, something like that. Human entrance, spaceship entrance. Whee! Now the idea here is to add a sensor, and I think that's it, and then just have to get the size right. It's kind of probably a boring part. You might want to you might want to skip ahead. And just trying to find the right shape here. That made it. I think it ends up just being pretty chunky. I don't think that's it either. Yeah, it takes a while to eventually get, this is like just quite a lot of just testing, trial and error, trying to make things sort of look right. And like all these things that I'm trying, it just looks like, it doesn't look like it was built. It just doesn't quite have the right vibe. I'm not sure how else to put it. Probably someone who's better at engineering would have the right words. And here's the sensor. That way is right side up. With the standard sensor. I like the way that other sensor, the automaton sensor. Oh yeah, I was thinking about doing like one sensor for, it's going to be one sensor for actually connecting, and then one sensor for detecting a space engineer. A human-like space engineer on the Earth-like planet. So the standard one, I think, is for detecting people. Right side, people. People, right side. The other one is going to detect stations or ships or whatever. Connector, right side. Not sure what I'm doing right now. Oh, doing the same thing on the other side, I guess. Oops. Something broke. Those do have little arrows on the side that's up, but they're pretty hard to see. I think you can see it if you zoom in. Left side. Now we can add the other sensor. Just using the two different types to make it a little easier to tell which is which. People, left side. connector. Left side. And now I think the next thing I'm going to do is going to set the range. Kind of annoying to be doing it in survival mode with creative tools. It's better to just use creative mode. I had a reason at some point. I think I was testing something with the hydrogen or the oxygen on one of the ships and needed it to be in a world that doesn't just automatically refill stuff. But then I never copied and pasted it out into a creative world. So left and right are just going to be half of a block. That's 1.25. I should have been paying attention, but you'll see it here. I have the HUD on. It says show HUD, and then under info, show sensor field range. So yeah, the front is nothing. Let me see. Back is one entire block. So the goal is just to detect the one block above the thing. So yeah, 2.5 is one block, and then another half block is 3.75. That's where I got those numbers. And then decided to just make it a little bit shorter because you don't need it to detect that high. And when it senses people, what's it going to do? I was going to try to make it fancy, but I decided to... I think you'd need an extra event controller or something and have something to turn off and on to get it to really work right, but... Excuse me. Okay, I'm back. Had some RL stuff going on. I mean, this is pretty much just it. I'm doing this on two sides, just making a little sensor that scooches the thing out. I actually just let it keep rolling while I was out of the room, so I was AFK for a minute. But basically, when it detects the player, it will... I didn't want it to reverse, I don't think. Oh, I guess I did that at first. So this way it just, like, reverses every time. I ended up doing it a little different, but this would work as well if you set it up right. I think. And hop back on and it should reverse again. Trouble with reverse is it can get confused. Here I'm just making them, you know, the size of the block. This looks like this is the one for the, yeah, this is the one for the connector. Doesn't need to be that long. So I'm going to change, it's the right, I think the right and left might be reversed or something. Yeah, that seems backwards to me, but What do I know? So it only needs to be out a little bit. The idea is that once it touches or once it gets in range rather of another connector, it will stop the piston and try to lock, I think. And I think the locking part would be from an event controller. So I'm going to test it. Put a connector there. This is not detecting flares, it's just detecting large ships and I think stations. Well, maybe it doesn't have the option for detect stations. I thought it did. So detecting friendly only. No idea what I'm thinking about right now. I think I'm trying to make this smaller. Oh, it's stations. There it is. Trying to detect everything. So, upon detection, we want to stop the piston. Set velocity to 0. And that means reverse won't work on that other sensor. So testing it, reversing, see what happens when something comes in range of the sensor. This is a subgrid, that it will be touching. That's why I added subgrids. And stops. Yay, it worked. So obviously we need to have it closer. .5, just a little bit more than half a block. 0.25 more than half a block, to be precise. And I think I'm just doing the same thing on the other side. Oh no, this is for the people one. So when a player steps in range, extend the piston. When a player steps off, retract the piston. Really simple. Probably will fail a RL test or a, an actual use test. Like, I don't think it would really work to like use it to connect to a station or something, because it would get wonky. But if you turned it off, like had some event controller to turn it off when it connects to something, and then turn it back on when it disconnects, you could probably make it a pretty nice automated thing. It wouldn't be too hard. So jumping in range, it extends. Stepping off, it goes away. And the only trouble is once you're off, you'd need some way to call it back. So I just called that good enough. I think it's good enough. Safety yellow. Still looks a little wonky on that edge. It'll eventually look nice by the end. I haven't really done a whole lot with the back and the top yet. The thruster setup looks nice. And I like having the jump drive peeking out a little bit. Same thing on both sides, probably. I'm just trying to find a nice uneven or sort of jagged look. And then also make it pretty symmetrical on top to bottom. Trying a bunch of different things. Looks pretty good, and for me, it's just I just keep messing with it until it looks right. Probably way longer than I need to mess with it. I'm just trying to create an interesting, what do you call it? An interesting shape or an interesting silhouette. I have to do some things with the bottom of the ship too. Right now it's just all flat. I might be thinking about raising this up, raising the whole ship a little. Gonna add some reverse thrust here. It's a little too much pipes. I need a block that hides that whole thing. Oops. Running out of energy. Sucks to be in survival mode. Okay. Not sure what happened here. Oh, I think it went out. But there was no connector there. Probably because it was already out. I must have accidentally extended that one and not realized it. Yeah, I didn't set this one up yet. I'm just going to copy the settings. Left and right, 1.25. Bottom 0, and front 0, and the top and back are 2.5. And that should make just a little sensor field in the square above. Try to do them all by memory. And then setting up the connector sensor. Just check the other one. Copy the settings. Swap left and right, I think. And then top, bottom, front and back should all be the same. And while doing this before, I was definitely saying the numbers out loud, trying to remember them. Didn't quite do it right, I don't think. Or maybe it's just not visible. Show on HUD. I did it backwards. So right should be 1.5. And right 0. Now it should all be working. Turn off sensor field range. Should have just turned off shell on HUD. Oops, wrong shade of yellow. So for the connector, I'm just setting it up to stop before it crashes into something. You could also use it to try to connect, try to lock on to a connector if it finds a connector. We're pretty much just trying to detect everything except players and floating objects. And floating objects. I'm just doing the same thing on the other side, making it extend when you stand on the platform and retract when you jump off the platform. Simple enough. And I think it's good enough. You could add like I said, you could add stuff to make it more fancy, but I don't think it's necessary. Just naming it. I like to know which thing is which and, be able to find them. Like if something's damaged, it makes it easier to find. And I think I'm gonna, oh, turn the whole thing a darker color. I think I was actually meaning to do that for quite a while. Because it was sort of a whitish color. And the gray is just a little bit easier on the eyes. I think I'm using the clean skin here. Or clean armor, whatever it's called. Can't go wrong with gray. Let's do a little more testing. Make sure this one's working right. How long does it take before I get annoyed by that yellow? And change it. I give it 20 seconds. Definitely wrong, probably more like 5 minutes. I really like the windows in the engine room. I'm just looking for a place to put event controllers. Or just plain old vents. No, event controllers. There we go. One for each of this side. Hangers, but I think, if I remember right, I wasn't able to get this to work with the subgrid for some reason. And I know it's possible. I've done it on other things, but they just didn't show up. I think I'm going to call it connector, right? Yeah. Left. And then the goal was when it comes in range of another connector. Trouble is I couldn't find it. Actually, I think it was those. I think I just overlooked it. LOL, that's pretty funny. It's those ones on the bottom, the subgrid ones. Obvi. I just totally didn't catch it. So I was going to use that to set up an event thing. And then I was looking at, okay, I might have to put an event controller block on this thing. That would look weird. So I totally didn't even see the inset connector that I was looking right at in that event controller. Oh well. Yeah, I ended up not doing that. That's so funny. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up right now. I'm getting tired, and there's still a bit of this video to go. So I'll end up breaking it up into chapters or something, but you can... I'm just sort of curious what I'm about to do. Oh yeah, I am actually trying to... no, that does not look right. But then I went to all this trouble because I didn't realize that it was right there. Well, anyway, wrapping up right here. I'm going to press pause on the video and stop on the recording.